Of course, I don't have to get into what they're doing to the Palestinian people, what they're doing to the people in Gaza, which is in the news every day. Unfortunately, not enough in the news. But the people are in a critical state in Gaza. They are dying. They are dying because they cannot get to hospitals. They are dying because they don't have proper medication. They don't have food. They don't have water. They have soiled water. They have water that is contaminated, all because Zionism is conveying a message and portraying itself to the world as some godly force that is simply being threatened by inhumane people, the Palestinians. We have a secret to reveal to the world. Jews have been living with Palestinian people and with Muslim people throughout the world for hundreds of years with any human rights groups to protect us.
They're so heavily biased in favor of Israel, and the whole world knows it, and they're astounded by it. They can't comprehend why America, with its great cherished traditions, would close its eyes to the dreadful punishment that we have enabled Israel to inflict on virtually defenseless people.
I'm a witness. I know the Arabs are very good, no problem till the Zionist movement starts. My grandmother told me, before the Zionist movement starts, they babysitting each other, the kids. They bar off and watch each other like brothers, like brothers. The idea of Zionism to take away the land from the Palestinians, from the Arabs, is starting the whole fighting. Not Arabs the problem, not Jews the problem, not Judaism, not Muslim, only Zionism.
Remember, the next time you hear the lie that Ahmadinejad of Iran threatened to wipe Israel off the map. In fact, he did no such thing. In any case, Iran doesn't have the capability to wipe Israel off the map.
Iran can't separate molybdenum from its uranium, so if they run UF6, uranium hexafluoride, contaminated molybdenum through a centrifuge cascade, they will destroy the cascade. This is known. This is known by everybody. So this is absurd in the extreme to talk about Iran suddenly representing a threat. We know Iran doesn't represent a threat. We know that Iran has no technical capability to enrich on the level that they've talked. They're still very much at the beginning stages of this process, and let me remind everybody that nothing Iran's accused of doing is illegal. They're permitted to do all of this under the Non-Proliferation Treaty, which again represents the absurdity of this whole process, where we're condemning Iran for doing that which is permitted under a treaty which has been signed and entered into force and has UN inspectors on the ground verifying Iranian compliance. So,
although Israel has the capability of wiping Iran off the map, but the only country that's been wiped off the map is not Iran or Israel, but Palestine. Go back to your atlas and look if you don't believe me. Israel would not be able to afford the cost of their occupation, could not procure the weapons for their occupation, would not be able to sustain this vast enterprise which has lasted so long if it were not carrying out the orders of the United States of America and the other imperialist countries. Every bomb, every bullet, every rocket, every helicopter gunship, every F-16 is paid for by the United States taxpayers, and no one dare raise a voice against it in the United States.
The United States has presented itself as a neutral broker between these two parties. But if you look at its actions rather than its words, you see that it has favored Israel almost 100% of the time. The U.S. has vetoed resolutions many times that would have put a stop to Israel's actions in the territory.
In New York, a push by the Palestinians and their supporters to win a UN Security Council resolution calling for an end to the violence was vetoed by the United States.
Israel has rejected UN involvement in the conflict, backed by its closest ally, the United States.
The U.S. bloc diplomatic moves from the Arab states, from Europe, from the PLO, anything, because it just refused to accept this kind of diplomatic settlement. Well, there's a name for that in the United States. It's called the peace process. What it actually is the process by which the United States prevented peace.
The United States has struggled for decades with widely varying success and failure to help ease this Mideast conflict.
The United States as a neutral broker between Israel and the Palestinians is a cruel joke on both Palestinians and the Arab world at large. The United States has exercised its veto many, many times in the Security Council, but perhaps worse than that is that it provides billions of dollars of aid to Israel, a lot of it military aid, and a lot of it in the most lethal possible form.
American aid to Israel totals over $6 billion per year. Israel receives $3 billion in direct aid, 2/3 of which is military aid intended for the purchase of American-made weapons. In addition, Israel receives $3 billion in indirect aid, at least half of which is used for military ventures, such as subsidizing Israel's domestic armaments industry. Not included in this figure are other forms of military aid, such as weapons given to Israel free of charge, including fighter planes and attack helicopters. Total U.S. aid to Israel since 1949 has amounted to over $100 billion, making Israel, a country the size of New Jersey, the fourth most powerful military in the world, in possession of the largest fleet of F-16 fighter planes outside the United States.
Although Israel has the capability of wiping Iran off the map,
the United States administration and its strategists have recognized that the EU and possibly Russia are potential competitors. And so being able to keep control of trade, investment, and the oil industry in a region that is very close to Russia, very close to Europe, this is a way for the United States to maintain its hegemony.
There's a framework of state policy, it's been in place for about 30 years, of supporting Israel as a kind of base for projection of U.S. power in the region.
That support intensified under Clinton and intensified even more in the Bush administration with the rise to power of the neoconservatives in the Defense Department, such as Paul Wolfowitz, Douglas Feith, Donald Rumsfeld, and others like them.
Now, when in effect you have people so close to Israel inside the U.S. administration, I think Israel is in the White House.
This was the 6th meeting between Mr. Bush and Prime Minister Sharon.
Every time he comes, I learn a lot.
There is no difference any longer between U.S. policy in the Middle East and Israeli policy.
All of us here tonight are brought together by a deep commitment to Israel's security, prosperity, and freedom, and to the strongest possible relationship between Israel and the United States.
Israel is connected to the American federal system. It's very interesting. That's why America sends billions and billions and billions of dollars. Incredible amounts of money. Why? There's something else going on here, and they haven't told you the whole story. If you were looking down from a satellite, looking down onto the Earth, or even higher out than a satellite would be, you would see that the largest single landmass on the Earth is from Russia, from the northeast tip of Russia, all the way across to central West Africa, to the West African coast. Then from England, Ireland, England, all the way across to India. And you crisscross the largest single landmass on the earth. That cross comes right through the city of Jerusalem. That's where it crosses. And so the old ancient Phoenician Canaanites being the bankers, they said, if you come in through town to do business, Jack, you're going to pay us up front. And so whoever controls Jerusalem controls the flow of oil, drugs, diamonds, all the valuable things in the world goes through Jerusalem. That's why it's the holy city. Money.